Alrighty folks, welcome back to the channel. It's Amiibo here, and welcome to 2025. It's not Christmas anymore, young gingerbread man. You are going bye-bye. Today we are talking about the physical games releasing for Nintendo Switch in January 2025. Of course, going over all of the major retail releases, not talking about VGP stuff, not talking about Play Asia, you know, limited run companies, that kind of thing. I'll do separate videos on those as they come and as they get announced, but this is all of the major releases in regular retailers, GameStop, Target, Best Buy. These are the major physical games releasing on the Switch in January at most real brick-and-mortar stores. Let's talk about it. Okay, people, I hope you had a good New Year's last night, but we got to get back to business. Enough partying around here. We got to talk about the January physical games for Nintendo Switch. Now, what's interesting is, for these, I'm doing like Switch now, and then also PS5. I'll have a PS5 version of this video tomorrow. What am I going to do when Switch 2 comes out? When Switch 2 comes out, I will probably be doing weekly videos. I got a lot of comments recommending I do that last time, saying like, well, you don't cover LRG here, that kind of thing. And I do want to get better about covering that. But for right now, for Switch and PS5, I'm just going to do like this big blanket January video. And then when we get to Switch 2, I will probably be doing those like weekly updates. But starting off here on January 7th, we have a pretty big one for me. I actually do have this pre-ordered on Switch. We have Ys Memoir, The Oath in Felghana, Day One Refined Edition is what they're calling this. This is being published by Xseed. Ys and Trails are very interesting because Xseed and NIS America both like have a lot of publishing rights for certain entries in this franchise. It's all over the place, quite frankly. But this is I want to say a remaster, not really a full remake, of a 2005 game originally released on Windows in Japan. I guess a lot of these Ys games launched on PC in Japan at first only, later came to PSP, and it is a remaster of that. So I played Ys 10 Nordics for the first time back in October, and I really enjoyed it. I have some issues with it. I don't think it's like the greatest thing ever, but it was a solid first step into the Ys series for me, and I'm pretty excited to check out Ys Memoir, as this is, you know, this is more of like a top-down action game as opposed to a 3D action game. It's a much older Ys game. I'm just glad they're getting all of these onto modern consoles, right? They just announced that Memories of Celceta is coming to the Switch in Japan this spring. Ys Memoir, Oath and Felghana here. This released in Japan a couple of years ago, but now we're getting this Western release. This is one of those, like, big box special editions that Xseed and Marvelous likes to do, where it's like this big rectangle. I kind of hate these boxes, I gotta be honest, especially because, as you can see here on the top, it doesn't say the name of the game, and the only way to really put it on like a shelf is to put it this way in, so you just have this red bar sticking out, because if you put it in from this side here on the left, I mean, it's gonna stick out like a sore thumb. So don't love the packaging on these. This is the only way to buy it. You can't buy it without this refined edition, but this is gonna be $60 January 7th. It says it includes a soundtrack CD, an acrylic diorama/keychain set of 4 postcards, and a screen cleaner cloth with the game in a custom box. So yeah, there's that custom box here. But yeah, pretty excited for this. You know, first week of the year, we're getting a game I'm actually interested in playing. I'm expecting January to be a very, very busy month for me, so the fact that this game is 11 hours is a huge selling point. So this is when I think I'll actually be able to get through in January, when we'll probably be covering Switch 2 quite a bit on both of my channels. So yeah, Ys Memoir, The Oath of Felghana, that's our first major release of the year. Next up, we have an anime tie-in game. I got a lot of comments about this, I think back in my November video, being like, Bo, you forgot this game, you forgot this game. No, I didn't. It wasn't releasing until January. I think originally it might have been slated for last year, but it is getting its release in January now. On January 10th, we have for $49.99, Goblin Slayer, Another Adventure Nightmare Feast, published by Red Art Games. This actually looks really good. I believe this is like a tactics game based on Goblin Slayer. I don't know anything about Goblin Slayer, so I probably won't be buying this, because with anime tie-in games, you kind of have to like really appreciate the source material to really get into it. You know, I love my Bleach and my Naruto games. I love all that stuff. Goblin Slayer is not something I've really ever looked into, but they're doing this the standard edition here that includes a sticker sheet, which is nice. There's actually something in the box, and I mean, just looking at the trailer here, I mean, this actually looks like pretty high quality. So if you're a Goblin Slayer fan, I would say this is like a must buy, right? Although looking at the Metacritic, it's at a 61, to be fair, with only 5 reviews. God gave it a 45, so maybe not, but I think this might be one of those things, like I said, where it's like, you gotta be a fan of the source material to really appreciate it. Though I will say, I'm looking at Red Art Games' website here, and it says it released, I think it released in Europe in December. So maybe that's where the confusion came from last month when this released. But in terms of, like, you know, North American major retailers, it's releasing in January here in the US. And if you're a big fan of Goblin Slayer, this might be one to keep an eye on. That same day, though, Red Art Games has another release here. I've never heard of this one, Elrentaros Wanderings, for $49.99. January 10th. It says, welcome to Elrentaros, a hinterland town far from the Melvanian capital. Visiting on a journey, you mingle with the colorful locals and embark on a quest to find ways to help them, but your adventure takes a sudden turn when a strange light surrounds you and you wake up in a different realm. Could this be a real universe? Unravel the secrets of the two worlds. The standard edition here includes a sticker sheet as well as a keychain. And you know, I'll be the first to say, like, yeah, this doesn't look like the highest quality game ever, but it's definitely giving, like, Silent Hope vibes, right? If you remember Silent Hope a couple years back from, I believe that was Xseed as well, actually. This is very, like, you know, top-down, kind of mobile action adventure-y. Maybe this game is even on mobile, I'm not sure, but this looks like it'd be solid fun. I'm not going to spend $50 on it or anything, but I like a basic action game every once in a while. You know, I like Silent Hope, so this is one to maybe keep an eye on here. Next up, we're scraping the bottom of the barrel when it comes to new Switch releases in 2025, but THQ Nordic, of all companies, is publishing a physical version of a Truck and Logistics Simulator for $29.99. This releases on January 14th. Includes over 25 vehicles with realistic interiors, multiplayer with up to 24 players. Can't imagine there'll even be 24 people playing this on day one. I gotta be honest, full day night cycle. You know, I mean, listen, I love Power Wash Simulator. I can respect these simulator games, but it is always funny when one of them gets like a physical, you know, especially when it's one as random as a Truck and Logistics Simulator. You know, it's not Trucking Simulator. Or it's not Driving Simulator, it's Truck and Logistics Simulator, which I just find very funny, but that's getting a physical release for $30 in January. Next up, 2 days later, on January 16th, we have our first major first-party release from Nintendo for 2025, and that is Donkey Kong Country Returns HD, releasing for $59.99 on January 16th. I've said some not too nice things about the way this game looks. I think it doesn't look all too good, even considering that it's, you know, a remaster of a Wii game, or I guess it's a remaster of the 3DS version. I feel like they should be doing more with this. However, I like Country Returns quite a bit. I think it, honestly, I need to replay it. It's been a long time since I played it on 3DS. I think I remember liking it more than Tropical Freeze. I know that's probably blasphemous and probably is not reflective of reality. However, I'm excited to replay this. I'm not excited to spend $60 on it, but you know what? Gotta do what we gotta do here. I will have a review up for you when it does launch here on the channel. But yeah, that's our first major Nintendo game of the year, and it is a pretty lackluster looking remaster of Donkey Kong Country Returns, which is a great game. It's just I wish they were doing a little bit more with this remaster job here. It is also worth noting, since I imagine most people playing this game probably have not played the 3DS version, the 3DS version added an entire new world. So if you have not played the 3DS version, maybe you played it on Wii growing up, or you know, played it on Wii back then, and you're jumping into the Switch version, there is an entire new world that you probably haven't experienced. So worth noting that if you are, you know, coming back to this game for the first time in 15 years, there is some content that was not present in the Wii version, which was definitely, you know, the most popular version of this game. So worth noting that. Just one day later, on January 17th, another Red Art Games release. I didn't realize until doing these videos that Red Art Games releases so many freaking games. It's actually kind of crazy. They're releasing TriggerHeart Exelica for Nintendo Switch for $40 on January 17th. This actually looks pretty good. I mean, I'm not like huge into shmups. I like the idea of playing shmups, but then I play them and I'm like, oh, shmups are kind of like not my thing, but this is a bullet hell game. I'm not sure. I mean, I think this is like an older game being brought over. It looks solid. I mean, I'm not really sure. Like, I can't look at a shmup and be like, oh yeah, that's a good shmup, or that's a bad shmup. I can't tell at a glance. From what I'm looking at with this game, if you like shmups, I can't imagine you wouldn't like this, right? But probably something I would pass on. If I see it for like $20, you know, cool anime shmup game, maybe I would pick it up. But yeah, probably a pass from me. That same day, though, January 17th, for $39.99, Bandai Namco is publishing what I would say is really the third major release of the year. We had East, we had Donkey Kong, and now we have Tales of Grace's F Remastered for Nintendo Switch as part of their, I believe is it 25th anniversary of the Tales series, or maybe 30th anniversary. They have announced that they're going to do like a lot of remasters next year, or, you know, into the future, and Tales of Grace's F Remastered is the start of that. I'm actually really excited for this, but I'm excited for it through the lens that, like, knowing I probably won't have time to play it. I'm expecting to be very, very busy in January, and I don't think I will realistically get to Tales of Grace's F. It's like a 50-hour game. I probably just won't be able to manage my time well enough to actually get through this game, but I do have it pre-ordered, so I will be buying it. I will be supporting Tales of Grace's F, but realistically, I probably won't have the time to play this. Tales of Grace is originally released on the Wii in Japan back in 2009. It wasn't until it got ported to the PS3 that it got an English translation in, like, I think 2012, so it was a pretty late PS3 release here in the West, but now we're getting this new version that is coming into the Switch, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, basically everything. So just another, you know, getting a timeless RPG, even if Tales of Grace's F isn't like the most hyped up Tales game. it's a timeless franchise, so it's, in my opinion, it's always a good thing when these games get ported over, because assuming they don't fumble it like they did with Symphonia, it's just good to have all these games available to play, you know? Before, if you wanted to play this, you kind of had to plug in a PS3, which is really not ideal. So now it'll be available and everything. It is $40, so coming in at that lower price point. And this will be the third Tales game coming to the Switch now, because we have Symphonia, we have Vesperia, and now we're getting Graces, and we should be getting even more. I think Xillia is one that is heavily rumored to happen in 2025, so stay tuned for that. Another one that I'm actually pretty excited to check out is Guilty Gear Strive. We're finally getting a release on Switch for this game. I did not pick it up when it came out on PS5. I missed it completely. I did pre-order this, I think through VGP, but this is $59.99, so this is releasing on January 23rd. Now, I was curious about this. I believe that this version on Switch is actually going to include all of the DLC for free. I've seen a bunch of like different, you know, links to different like fighting game fan pages saying like, yeah, it's gonna have free DLC. It looks like there's 3 season passes that have released for the PS5 version so far. It sounds like all that will be free on the Switch version, including this new Queen Dizzy character that just releases a paid update. That's going to be free through the Switch version. Correct me in the comments down below. New to Guilty Gear Strive, but that's what it's looking like for this version of the game, which is awesome. I mean, it's great that, you know, we're paying $60 for a very late port of this game. The least you can do is give us the DLC fighters for free, so that's pretty exciting as well. Another pretty big one is releasing on January 28th. If you missed it on PlayStation or Xbox late last year, Life is Strange Double Exposure is getting its physical release on January 28th from Square Enix for $49.99. This released digitally in November, I want to say, on the Switch eShop, which is funny because it released in October on everything else. I'm not sure what the consensus is on this Switch port. The fact that it was delayed only a couple months, in my opinion, is a very bad sign, but maybe it's a pretty good port. I'm not sure. Let me know in the comments down below, but this is getting its physical release finally on Switch in January, so if you're a big fan of Life is Strange, you will probably want to pick this up, especially as I've talked about this in videos in the past. Life is Strange, the Arcadia Bay collection on Switch is actually... it's not easy to find, so I don't know if this will necessarily become rare, but the fact that it launched digitally first, it was a late launch to begin with, and now that we're getting an even more delayed physical release for it, this probably isn't going to be the highest print run game, I imagine, from Square Enix for Switch. So, and especially Square Enix has been weird lately with their printings, like Fantasia Neo Dimension was actually pretty hard to find there for a little bit. So Life is Strange Double Exposure, this is one that's, I don't want to spend $50 on. I do want to own it on Switch. I haven't bought it on PS5 yet. I don't know if I'll spend $50 on it, though. That seems a little steep. But also, like I said, the Arcadia Bay collection got kind of rare, so maybe I should just pull the trigger. I'm not sure. I'm going for that full Square Enix set, but maybe it's just not all worth it. But I've heard very good things about Double Exposure. Or I guess I've heard very good things from people that like True Colors, and I love True Colors. I've heard very mixed things from people that love the first 2 Life is Strange games. I think those 2 games are mid. So I think I'll probably like this. Maybe not as much as True Colors, but, you know, somewhere in between there. So I'm excited to play this eventually. Next up, we have another one of these big box releases releasing on January 28th for $49.99 from Xseed. We have Cusineer Day One Edition. It says the Day One Edition includes the game, an original soundtrack, a 160-page softcover art book, and an 8x11 towel, all packaged together with the game in a custom box. They say here, join the adventure of a lifetime with Cusineer on Nintendo Switch. Upon receiving a startling letter from her parents, the independent adventurer Palm swiftly returns home to Pael, only to find her parents gone and their beloved restaurant abandoned. Now left with mounting debts and a village in dire need of some fine cooking, Palm will have to delve into the deepest dungeons for the scarcest spices, the rarest meats, and the most valuable vegetables that she can find to keep her parents' dream alive. So, I guess kind of like, you know, like all those farming games you play, and it's always like, oh, my random distant relative abandoned the farm, I gotta save the farm. I think Stardew Valley does that, actually. It sounds like that, but instead of a farm, it's a restaurant. That actually sounds pretty neat. Graphics look nice, look solid. There's a furry in it, so get hype for that. But this looks fine. Once again, not something I would spend $50 on, but it looks pretty solid. Looks like it has, you know, some action combat in there. You're going into the dungeons. You're getting, you know, ingredients for cooking. This looks pretty good. I don't play a ton of these kinds of games, you know, Dave the Diver type stuff, but this looks like it's pretty solid. That same day, though, January 28th, we have another release from Idea Factory. We have Neptunia Riders versus Dogoos. This was, I believe, slated for November originally, and then it got delayed to January. I keep reading this as Doggos. Maybe it's Dogoos. I really don't know. This is another Neptunia game. I'm not that familiar with Neptunia, but this is going to be a $39.99 release from Idea Factory, another entry in the Neptunia franchise, and I have no idea what I'm even looking at, man. Maybe someone in the comments who's a bigger Neptunia fan than I can explain this to me, but I'm looking at these screenshots right now. I'm watching this trailer. There's like this weird cute, like it looks like a Dragon Quest line with like a dog face or like a bear face or something, and it's like a man's body. I have no idea what this game is. The title is very funny. The description reads that it's an exhilarating motorcycle combat game that showcases an array of uniquely quirky doggos with Uzumi Tenoboshi and the four goddesses racing on their bikes set in a dimension unlike game industry. What? This world is under siege by a multitude of diverse doggos that pose a significant threat. In a quest to find a way out of this strange realm, a solitary rider explores the enigmatic landscape, seeking an escape route. Yeah, I don't know about this one, Chief, but I mean, Neptunia has so many games. It's kind of like Toho in that there's just so many games, and I imagine, you know, the hardcore fans are there to support it, but probably not really for a Neptunia normie like me. I've never played a Neptunia game. Just a few more things here, although I would say this is the final major release of the month. In my opinion, we have Phantom Brave, The Lost Hero, Deluxe Edition from NIS America. Once again, GameStop has it listed as Koei Tecmo, so I guess that was just an error on the Guilty Gear page. But this is being published by NIS America. This is, of course, being developed by actual NIS in Japan. This is a sequel to a PS2 game. I think that's really cool. Phantom Brave is a PS2 game. There is that Pretty Presents collection that has the first game on Switch, so you can play the first game to get ready for this. But this is releasing on January 30th for $59.99. Has that very distinct NIS art style. I think this looks great. I saw a lot of it at PAX West. I did not get a chance to play it, but I was watching people play it, and it looks pretty cool here. It says, create a team of allies from over 50 unit types and send them into battle. How the fight unfolds is limited only by your imagination. Phantom Brave, The Lost Hero is an unconventional strategy RPG that features free movement on a gridless map. Summon your Phantom Squad members during battle by confining their souls to objects on the map. What object you confine them to is up to you, and each different object informs their stats. Phantoms can also confire with special gadget items for a slow-moving but hard-hitting attacks. In addition, Marona can confriend with Phantoms to transform her appearance and access special attacks. With over 50 characters and 300 skills to master, Phantom Brave, The Lost Hero is an adventure you won't forget. So, I think this is one, I want to say I have this pre-ordered from Best Buy through the buy two get one last year. Once again, similar to Tales of Grace's F, I would love to actually play it on day one. I probably won't get to it immediately, but this one actually looks really solid. I did play a little bit of it, of the first game through the Pretty Presents collection, and I was enjoying it back then. So I think it's just really cool that they're going back to this random PS2 game and making a sequel. You know, instead of doing Disgaea 8 right now, they're like, yeah, let's make a new Phantom Brave. Sure, why not? And then just a few more things listed on GameStop here. Read-only Memories NEURODIVER is getting a physical from Serenity Forge on January 31st for $44.99, so $45 here. This is it reminds me of Valhalla a lot. Cyberpunk bartender action. If you have not played that game, highly recommend it. I've never played Read-only Memories, but I love Valhalla, so I feel like I would probably like this. It has that very similar kind of cyberpunky aesthetic, pixel art, right? That kind of thing. There is also this special edition for $100 releasing the same day. This special edition includes a physical copy of the game with an illustrated inner cover sheet, an instruction manual, download card with a code for a digital download of the soundtrack, prismatic sticker sheet, art book, double-sided acrylic charm, and a NEURODIVER plush. So really, you're buying it for that NEURODIVER plush. If you really are a big fan of Read-only Memories, you're buying the special edition for the plush. I feel like for $100, they could have done better than a digital download. They could have actually included a CD in there, but alas, this is releasing on January 31st. We also have this P-Cube visual novel, Husbando visual novel, Genso Manege, I think, January 31st as well, for $49.99. I'm out of my depth when it comes to these Husbando games, but I mean, they make a lot of them, so there's clearly an audience. This one I find slightly annoying. So PM Studios is releasing a special edition of WitchSpring R for $120 on January 31st. WitchSpring R, the standard edition, just released back in October. Now, maybe they announced this in advance. People that are more into WitchSpring than I would probably know that, but it feels a little weird to me to release like a standard copy of your game and then like 2 months later be like, yeah, there's a special edition coming out. Kind of getting people to double dip here. But this collector's edition includes a special outer box, a Pieberry figure, a physical game, an OST download voucher, and most importantly, a hardcover art book and a new costume for Pieberry as a download code. So really, you're paying for that art book. But for $120, I mean, WitchSpring R, I don't even think was $60 to begin with. So you're doubling the price more than that to really just get a figure and an art book. Maybe that figure is really good, I'm not sure, but it feels a little weird to me to be doing this release so late. And then finally, that same day for $34.99 from a Selecta Play, never heard of this publisher, we have Morkull, Ragast's Rage. Morkull Ragast's Rage on Nintendo Switch is a captivating 2D game that blends platforming, action, and a hint of exploration. Players take aware of Morkull, the self-aware antagonist who recognizes his status as a video game character, aware of both the player controlling him and the developers behind his creation. Your mission is to assist Morkull in evading the Ragast, enabling him to unleash his nefarious schemes across the globe. After all, he embodies the classic archetype of a villain. I think this is a sequel. I think we already have one of these games, I want to say, physically on Switch. This one released, I was looking at, released back in May digitally. Got decent reviews. It looks solid. I like the art style. I like the whole, like, you know, breaking the fourth wall. He knows it's a game, that kind of thing. Definitely not humor for everybody. Looking at some of the screenshots here, almost has like a Hollow Knight vibe in some of the areas. So this is one that you might want to keep an eye on. This is one I would definitely pick up for like 15 bucks maybe, but not for 35. But that is going to do it for all of the major releases at regular retailers in the month of January for Nintendo Switch. Certainly more than December had. December really had like nothing except for Fantasian, as well as Fitness Boxing 3, if you even count that. This month we have, we have Tales of Grace's F, we have Ys, The Oath and Felghana, Phantom Brave, Donkey Kong. So there's more to chew on in January. And then as we get through the year, it just gets more and more exciting. And then eventually we'll get the Switch too. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Are you planning on picking up any of these new releases for Nintendo Switch in January? On top of what I just said, there's also Life is Strange and Guilty Gear, Neptunia, Riders versus Dogoos, if you want to pick up that game, or Dogoos. I really don't know. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Of course, subscribe here for more collecting content. I will have a similar video covering the PS5 physical games for January tomorrow. There's some interesting stuff happening over there on that side of the collecting camp, so stay tuned for that. And until next time, folks, peace.